Back. I'm gonna probably play a couple songs, and then we'll just see where things go from there. And we'll see if my internet is strong enough to sustain a stream today, which has been in and out the last couple weeks. But we'll see how it goes. That's great. I went to the dispensary this morning on my way home from work because I looked at their menu, and their menu said they had tincture, and I thought, I'm going to get some tincture, and then I'm going to put it in my coffee. Pull in, go inside, say, I'd like some tincture. So he says, we don't have any. I said, well, it's on your menu. She said, yeah, we discontinued that. Yeah, so I went in. They didn't have anything. I said, let me look at your dab rigs. And she said, we don't have any. I was like, well, I'm leaving. I'm not paying for overpriced gummies. I'm not fucking with, like, stuff that I didn't go to get. So I'll go somewhere else, I guess. This is about the kind of dancing I can do, by the way. That's about what I got. Bathing your luggage. Let's see. Let's find another good one. Oh man, this is old. This is fucking old dubstep. This is the first song I ever heard from this artist. And this is like 2012. But it's like an EDM mix of Dance with the Sugar Plum Fairy. So gotta get the luggage clean before the trip. Do you have a, like, fancy set that all matches? It's probably a good policy to, avoid having bed bugs and whatnot. Listen, there are many things that are nice to have, even if they are not worth the money to me to have. and you are a Southern woman, I would be surprised if they weren't monogrammed. Like, I have relatives from Nashville, from Mount Juliet, specifically in Nashville. And there were many Christmases when I got monogrammed items. I got a purple bag with my initials on it when I was like 14. And although I'm very comfortable with, my masculinity and wearing colors that are considered girly, at this point in my life, when I was like 13, 14, a purple bag was not cool. So I didn't really appreciate that one. But like monogrammed towels and washcloths and stuff. It was like royal purple. It was like fairly deep purple. Um, and I didn't even know Smoke on the Water then. That's a dumb joke. I only know one song by Deep Purple, so. Well, then you have not reached full Southern woman form. Final form is your initials on it. This coffee takes so long to percolate. It's really frustrating. All right. Trying to think if there's anything good that I've been listening to other than this recently that won't get me copyright struck. Yeah, that's a good question. Grandchildren. Grandchildren will certainly do it. I've been listening to Shlomo, and I like Salem. I haven't watched this video yet, but I can't imagine this is gonna get struck. This is like I don't know. It's not really witch house. It's like ambient kinda. This lady is famous. This lady is like a famous crazy LA lady who drives this pink, I guess, Corvette. I'm going to say mental illness, right? That's my assumption for somebody who is that committed to a personality. But I mean, I've talked about this on the stream before, but like women weren't even considered to be like capable of having autism until like the 90s. So there are a lot of very strange women who probably are just autistic and never got. I mean, they never got diagnosed because nobody even thought that they could get diagnosed, right? Which is really unfortunate for the people who, now getting an autism diagnosis doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make your life better necessarily. Like, it doesn't affect how you are treated or medicated because there's no real treatment or medication for autism. But you at least know that they're like, what's wrong with you? You're not just a insane person. You're not just like making it up. There is something that is different about the way you interact with the world, and you can sort of reckon with that. Right? I think it's good. A lot of people don't want to, like doctors, don't want to diagnose autism because it's It's like, one, it's sort of a disease without a cure, in a sense. And it's also, parents don't want to think that their kid has something that's like effectively terminal, right? In the sense that you will have it until you die, and it will probably shorten your life. Um, but it's not helpful. It's not helpful to anybody to not diagnose the autism. People are not helped. Let's see. Yeah, that's a good one. People are not helped by being inaccurately diagnosed, because autism often does end up with manifestations of like depression, anxiety, OCD, ADHD, all of these things. But that's not the root, right? You don't have depression because your life isn't going very well, right? You have depression because of autism. And when you understand that you may only be able to treat symptoms and you may not be able to treat the cause, again, you can come to peace with that. I'm not that everybody does, but you can step back and say, all right, I'm never going to have a leg below the knee, but I can get a good prosthetic and I can learn the right therapies that will help keep the pain away. And I can go to therapy to help me deal with my feelings about not having a leg below the knee. It's not going to fix the lack of an ankle, right? But I can take the steps to deal with the reality in a productive way, as opposed to just acting like all of the therapy I'm doing isn't working because I'm the problem. Bethany's brother is autistic in a way where you would immediately know if you looked at him, right? Now he's I don't want to be offensive, right? And I know there's sort of various opinions on how to talk about this stuff, but like, he is able to live on his own with a roommate. He is pretty comfortable mostly in social situations. But you can tell in his eyes and you can tell in the pressured speech immediately, right? And he's not shy about being autistic, and he would tell you, but he wouldn't need to. I recognized it when I met him, right? So like, he is, and he has been through therapy. He's been through physical therapy, right? Speech therapy. So he is significantly improved in how he's able to express himself, cope with the world around him. He is much better than he was when I met him, and than he was when he was like 5 or 6 years old, right? Obviously, as you grow and mature, these things tend to mellow a little bit. And they would not diagnose him. He didn't get diagnosed until he was like, I think 12. And Bethany's mom was trying to get him diagnosed because they needed access to that health care. But they just wouldn't diagnose him. And it seems likely that they didn't want to, because that's a terminating diagnosis, right? Well, it's autism. Okay, now all this stuff can come from the autism, but we can't treat the autism, and it won't go away. There's no fixing the autism, right? Maybe you think the parents don't want to hear that, or maybe you just don't want to admit that there's nothing you can do about it. I don't know. I think a lot of it is done with good intentions, but it doesn't really matter, good intentions or not, because they're wrong. And It's like, God, it all comes back to the same shit that conservatives are mad about all the time. It's the same thing with not providing like healthcare and counseling for trans kids. We don't have to do gender affirming surgery if it really doesn't happen on minors. I am sure you could find cases where it does happen, but I am more than aware that those would be the incredible minority of cases, right? We know that the way to help prevent the mental health issues that you see, which is what conservatives point to, right? They're like, look at all this, drug abuse and suicide and mental health issues that you see in trans people, right? Well, they are among the most attacked people in society, and their lives are very difficult. If you start treating children who identify or think maybe they identify as a different gender than the one they are inhabiting with respect and say, all right, let's see how you feel. We'll just do this for a while and see if you feel like this is really something that's, true about yourself, or if you were just, wondering. Because that totally happens. People are like, well, I feel like I'm uncomfortable. Maybe there's something else that I need to try, right? And some people find out that they were right, and some people find out that that's not for them. And that's totally fine. You generally figure that out before you have surgery, right? It's not a big deal. Puberty blockers exist already, and they are prescribed for cis girls mostly, right? Who develop prematurely. So there's already a known application for these medications. It's not sinister. And what happens when you take that approach is that they feel respected and cared for. Now, not to say that they're not still going to have some issues, but they feel like there are people around them who want them to succeed in life as a person, no matter what that looks like. And that's very valuable. I mean, finding your identity as a teenager is hard if you're cis, let alone if you're trying to navigate like, well, maybe I'm a girl, right? And everybody is talking shit about me, and I'm really uncomfortable with how I look. Cis teenagers are uncomfortable with how they look, right? That's already a problem. It's hormones and puberty, and your whole world is changing, your identity is changing, the way you interact with other people is changing. There's a lot of mental health issues in teenagers. It's just kind of par for the course. And then you add to the fact that you are, now in a separate, totally ostracized community, the target of many attacks relentlessly, who may be kicked out of your home by your parents, right? All of a sudden, yeah, you can understand why the mental health issues are substantial. We could do something about that, but it's just like blaming video games for violence or violent music for violence. The problem is not the media. The problem is not the whatever the topic of the day is. The problem is how people are treated. But that's way harder to fix, right? Because then that requires you to do some work. I don't have to parent if I can say, oh, my kid turned out bad because they were playing Call of Duty. You could have taken away their Xbox. You could have parented. No, I couldn't have done that. Again, maybe I'm old-fashioned, right? It's not very liberal of me, but it's not complicated. You parent children, which takes work and effort, and you have to be in their lives and actually give them the attention and focus and care about what they're doing, and you have to do that stuff. If you don't do that stuff, it doesn't. The media is not the problem, right? Because it's always something different that you can blame for your lack of. Eminem knew this 20 years ago, guys. And he is hardly a woke liberal. Although I guess he maybe kind of is now. Hello, Salma. Glad to hear from you again. I hope everything's going well in Morocco. I know AFCON is happening. There's been some issues, I believe, with the Moroccan national team. I will be back momentarily. I'm going to go drop off my filter. I've complained about it time and again. Probably earlier this week. But it's so ever present. I cannot. Okay, maybe we're back. Ooh, yuck. Does not look like we're back. Maybe we are back now. Oh, that's very exciting. Are you gonna watch with some people, or are you just making snacks for you and your family? Back to before I was troubleshooting. The things we know about how healthcare works, the things we know about what drives crime, right? The vast majority of crime is driven by poverty. Almost all crime you want to talk about is driven by poverty, because there aren't that many murders, right? There aren't that many high level serious crimes. Most crime is petty theft and petty violence. We know, if you just give people money, they use the money. We've tried several different UBI experiments, right? And it turns out you tend to get pretty positive results when you just give people money, because then people have some freedom. And I'm not going to get too conspiratorial on like the government is trying to keep us working all the Jesus Christian Christ Almighty. What is going on? Okay. I am not sure how to pronounce that word. And I'm not sure what the significance, but I'm going to look it up.